Hi, welcome to Topdeckcommander. I'm Wonky, I'm with Peggy, and this is our gameplay series.
Okay, so we've reached the setup for the game. We've got 4 commanders. We're going to be starting with Wonky in that top right corner. You're playing Abaddon and Kedis today.
Yeah, one of my favourite decks is a go fast, hit hard deck. Not guaranteed to win, it's a big threat.
Good. These first couple turns it's going to be mostly lands from the look of it, so unless anything really relevant happens, we're just going to follow that on the screen. Passing straight to me, I'm playing Abaddon today, the one that we're following through from our Would You Build It series. We pass over to Dead Meat, and he's playing Snapdax. It's got a bit of a life gain theme in there, but he's also mostly looking to hit hard with aggro. And then we're on to Jesus, and he's playing Atla.
Expect the eggs.
That's it, he's looking to get a lot of eggs out. You played a Sure Strike Trident there.
Yeah, it's a good card for getting damage through when you can't swing through, but ideally with this deck I just want to be hitting hard for normal combat damage.
So I'm turn 2 ramping. We get a talisman out of there. It's basically what you have to do if you're not playing green. Back over to Dead Meat, who has absolutely nothing turn 2. Hoping for ramp, didn't get it. So when Atla comes out, it's going to be no surprise to anyone. She's going to make some eggs. And Jesus hoping to get some really big fat dinosaurs out of there. He's going to need people to swing into those eggs, or he's going to have to sack them himself. I'm sure he'll find a way.
No missed land up so far.
Okay, so you're dropping a cloud key there, you're choosing artifacts.
Yeah, there's about 50 artifacts in the deck, so it's not a bad call to choose artifacts, really.
That's strictly better than a Soul Ring there. If it's going to save you 50 mana. Really, that one's removing, if we're honest. My turn 3 is more artifact ramp, chromatic lantern. All 3 basics out, all my colours, happy there. We've passed it off to Dead Meat. He drops another swamp there. Okay, so he's got a spectral searchlight, so it allows him to tap and give any player a mana of any colour. So possibly political there, but it does just get him that red mana he's missing from his lands. Jesus there also lacking at play. He's done nothing all game so far. Keep those dinosaurs quiet.
Well, at least he's not a threat.
At what point do you start talking about threats? If you, in this position that you're in, you're looking at the table, who's a threat to you immediately?
Knowing my deck, I'm probably going to be the earliest threat.
That's it, so you're tapping 3 there, you're getting your commander Abaddon out. He's the archaeologist one that allows you to equip or attach your equipment at the beginning of combat. There's the mountain you were missing. So Varak Battle Horns there. Gives him trample. That means it can be blocked by more than one creature.
No extra damage, but that'll come.
Okay, so through the first main, we're heading straight into combat, and obviously Abaddon triggers, and we're gearing up with absolutely everything on the field so far. Like I say, there's no extra damage, he's not hasty, so that's just a straight pass. So for me, in my perspective, looking at the rest of the field, I agree you're the threat here. It is a Boros deck, so we're going to expect aggro. Clearly I've got nothing to deal with it, so I'm just casting Abaddon. Jesus there with the assist, getting my commander out for me. Dead Meat untaps. Another plains, no natural red source, but he has got a searchlight. People here are playing probably a little bit wary of who you're going to hit.
I don't blame him at this point. It's nice to see the land drops being hit.
So Dead Meat there gets his first creature out. We've got an aerial responder. It's a dwarf, it's got flying, vigilance and lifelink. If he gets to mutate Snapdax on it, that's a very good card. Jesus here gets his commander out. So that's 3 out of 4 commanders on the field. It's a good start.
5 commanders for the partner deck.
3 out of 5. No one wants to see Kedis except you right now.
I enjoy seeing Kedis drop. I'll burn through my mana, play everything, I don't mind.
That's it, we've tapped 4, but we're casting all 3 artifacts at once. We've got Loxodon Warhammer, Trepanation Blade, and Commander's Blade.
It's a very, very strong play, those 3 cards.
That's it, so now we're getting some pump spells. So the Warhammer, +3/+0 lifelink, Trepanation Blade, +1 for each card the defending player mills when you attack them. Commander's Plate, terrifying on a mono white commander, especially for me not playing white. So he can only be interacted with white spells now.
If anybody wasn't too bothered about my commander the turn before, at this point alarm bells should be ringing violently.
That's a double trample, big pump, potentially another big pump. I'm completely defenseless at this point. So we've built a nice pyramid of equipment there. Abaddon's sitting atop it. Do you know who you're going to hit in the turn? Who you're going to hit when you enter combat? When do you decide?
I normally have a look around at the beginning of my combat and decide then. Depends on mana open and blockers available and life totals.
Well, it's nice to know there's no malice. Clearly here you've chosen to swing into Jesus. And that is a lot of cards to be revealed to the Trepanation Blade trigger. 8 before he hits a land. So you're swinging for 16 right there.
Yeah, as we said, choosing a target, it's normally best to choose on combat because there's so many things can happen if you've planned it slightly earlier. You've planned thrown just by one card dropped.
That's it. He's not blocking here. There's really no point with that amount of trample. It's not quite lethal yet.
Plus for protection helps it go through regardless.
Oh, yeah, he literally can't block, can he? I forgot about Commander's Blade there. Like I say, terrifyingly good card. Really, Cloud Key doing all the heavy lifting there. 4 mana, 3 spells, that's a lot.
I believe a Commander's Blade was played for free.
Oh, I played my hand, I've gone straight to combat, and I'm coming straight at you. Literally no fear from Abaddon here. Now, because you've lost 5 lives, anything I cast for 5 or less is going to have Cascade. And it's a tree. How are we feeling about the tree, Wonky?
The tree is quite scary because I do tend to swing outwards and defense is somewhere down my list, and having my life total drop to 13 is not going to be good.
Okay, so the problem with that Cascade is we hit a Terminate. I can't hit Abaddon because it's not a white spell, and at this point I don't really want to remove Dead Meat's blocker or Jesus' Commander because really I'm looking to them for help.
Yeah, at this moment it's an arch enemy situation. It's 3-on-1. It's got to be. I'm too strong, too fast out of the gates.
So I'm going to roll the dice again here, cast a Shiny Impetus. Go at my command. Ideally I would have goaded yours, but never mind. We hit another talisman for me. So value into more value, really doing what the deck wants to do. At this point there is a little discussion at the table about exactly the best way to deal with you. Spoiler, I've only got a burn spell in hand, so that's not going to work because of the protection.
A spoiler, I'm not happy to deal with myself. I'm quite willing to be in the situation I'm in. It's a very, very good start for me.
That's it. I think it's clear here. You're winning. I'm running in second, and Jesus is getting battered. Dead Me here, dropping in a Danto Vanguard. It's again a prime target to be morphed onto because you can pay 4 life to make it indestructible. So that'll dodge a board wipe, which hopefully one of us hits right now. He's left a little mana open here. He's got 3 mana open. We're hoping for Path to Exile here. It's going to be instant speed, so possibly in your turn. Okay, so Dead Meat's going to combat here, and he's declaring attackers of the
Area Responder.
Yep. Come straight at you, predictably.
I don't blame him in the slightest.
I mean, you've got life total on that Lockstone Warhammer, but you still need to be whittled away. We move to Jesus. Drops a tap land. Gains life. That's not going to help him with commander damage at all. We'll see if he's got responses or a defense. Discouragingly, if we're honest, he's making an egg and passing right back to you. Again, but he's left mana open. Are you worried now that one of them is going to be able to interact with you? They both got white mana open. Really, it's just me who doesn't.
To be honest, I'm having too much fun at this point. That even if I die, so be it.
Well, I don't think you're dying on your turn. I think someone's going to get hit really hard. Are you looking to finish Jesus here? You're looking to hit me because I'm open? Dead Meat has, even though he's got 2 blockers, because of the Battle Horns, he can only block with one of them, but they are both white. Again, they both got white mana open. So you're dropping Liquid Metal Torque there, just extra ramp. Again, it's actually mana neutral at this point because of the Cloud Key, which really needs to be removed, if nothing else.
Yeah, I'm not hitting my card draw in this deck at the moment. It's just playing artifacts out. So my hand is getting emptier and emptier.
Someone say you don't need it. We've hit the scary card because this is Kedis. So now, one of us gets hurt, we all get hurt. So one of us is going to be taking commander damage, and the other going to be having their life whittled away to nothing. If I was in your position, I'm probably swinging at myself. Because yes, you can get the Voltron kill on Jesus here if he hasn't got a defense, but you may as well hit someone else and just have him die accidentally. That's the beauty of Kedis. So again, because of the Trident, you have the option of tapping your commander to deal damage, but because of Kedis, you want to deal combat damage.
Combat damage will always be my primary motivation on this deck.
Cool. So we'll go attackers, declaring attackers. We're going at dead meat this time, so we're spreading the love. Jesus gets a turn off. With the trigger, we've hit a land straight away this time, so it's just a +1 instead of a +8.
That was disappointing. That is so disappointing.
Only more disappointing for dead meat. Missing a land drop next turn, unless he's got some in hand. Probably would have liked to draw that, even though it's not a mountain.
I'm sure he was happy not to take the damage.
So he's thinking about blockers here. Like I say, he's got mono white creatures, so he can. It's whether or not it's worth cutting down some of that damage.
This is a point where trample plays quite a big effect. Is it worth blocking?
And he's decided it's not, so he's going to be taking 9. That's 9 commander damage for him, to add to the 16 for Jesus. You'll be gaining 9 life immediately, so the life link. And then Kedis will trigger, and Jesus and I will take 9 each. So he's dropped right down to 16.
Pretty sorry for Jesus, but not sorry enough not to kill him.
So past me, I've actually not been hit by you yet, but I must be next in turn order.
Oh, there's no guaranteed turn order. It's decided at the time.
So I'm looking for removal for Kedis here. Abaddon has trample naturally, but I want to get as much for as possible. My plan here, I can tell you, is tab that tree, drop you to 13, and see if we as a team can finish you off. Abaddon's only 7, so I would only drop you to 6.
Yeah, with a hit removal, I think the tree would have been a prime target.
So here, obviously it's arch enemy. I'm doing my best to have the team put a plan together. I want Kedis gone. That's pretty clear. It's whether or not dead meat can help us out. So I'm trying to, if nothing else, I'm trying to get him to use his removal on Kedis, because I have plans to kill you.
That's rather vicious. What have I done to deserve this?
You hurt everyone really badly.
Excluding that.
Okay, so dead meat's jumping in here.
Mono white commanders would like this player.
There's a counter spell.
A white counter spell. Usually unexpected.
So dead meat's final payment, paid his life as an extra cost. It has been counted. So I'm hitting you with a tree position anyway. We'll drop you down to 13. If nothing else, that's a big chunk of life gone. We've made headway. You've got to at least put you on the back foot and play a little more defensively.
At this point, I was not too scared. I knew I could gain some life back with the Loxodon Warhammer.
So my secondary plan here is obviously now you've lost life, Abaddon can trigger his Cascade. Hit a Scythe Claw. Technically I've made a germ, which we're not going to represent because that's not what it's here for. I've cascaded into a demon. Doesn't really help by itself. It's not removal. So that tree of perdition stuff just goes to a 0.58. Won't be able to use that again. Really a one-shot is tree of perdition.
That was a quite powerful one-shot.
So here I'm cutting a deal with dead meat. I want the mana from his searchlight so I can cast more spells and hopefully hit some removal this time. If nothing else, what I'm doing is advancing my own board by hitting value. I'm hitting a commander sphere. He doesn't have to help me here, but under the guise of me helping the table, I'm going to advance my game, provided I don't die to you.
Certainly siphoning through your library at the moment.
Let's see, you get to see some of my cards. Okay, so I've hit a bit of luck. That's a security bypass. So one of the newer cards got Connive on it. Super key here is when my commander attacks alone, which it will, it's unblockable. So that gets my extra damage through. No need to remove Kedis if it can't block anyway. We'll gear him up with a Scythe Claw. So when I do hit you, you'll lose half your life afterwards, rounded up. Trigger there, so I get to make a treasure on attacking. Also good ramp. How are you feeling at this point?
Now I'm starting to get a bit nervous.
That's fair, you're getting hit pretty hard here, so I'm hitting you for 8 straight off the bat. We'll drop you to 5.
I think I would need some major power on board to try and get some of the life back through lifelink, but it's not looking likely in time.
So the problem is if it gets back to your turn, you will gain it back with the Warhammer. So we hit you for 8, there we go. Scythe Claw is going to trigger. You're on 5 life, so we'll round it up, and you'll lose another 3 and drop you to 2. which is going to put Deadmeat in an interesting position because he has a 2/2 flyer. So now that we've hit, we have the connive trigger from the security bypass. I'll draw a card, I'll discard a card. If it's non-land, I get to put a counter on my commander. So I'm getting rid of a signet. I've ramped enough. I get a counter on my commander, which we haven't done in the game. We just have to imagine it's there. Potentially, you die to a flyer here, and I'm the new threat.
Will he do it?
That's it. Maybe he'll cut a deal. I'm pretty sure at this point...
At this point, if I was Deadmeat, I would go for the kill.
So he's going straight to combat. No discussion whatsoever. Immediately going in for you.
Yep. The correct move.
You've got a Liquid Metal Torque open, but I don't think you've got a 1-drop colourless spell to deal with that.
I have nothing.
Jesus here is trying to talk him into smashing an egg at the same time. Deadmeat's having none of it. At this point, they're resigned to you dying. It's how do they deal with me? Jesus wants a big dinosaur.
I don't blame Jesus for putting up that argument. His board at the moment is quite weak.
Fortunately for him, Deadmeat's having none of it. Clearly, eyes on the win there.
And I'm out.
I mean, it was a big impact you had in the game immediately. I'm pretty sure you sped us up by...
It's the way I like to go with that deck. Straight in, hit hard, see what happens.
That's it, Boris aggro. The other thing you could have done is you could have killed Jesus in the previous turn. Is that a regret, or are you happy with that decision?
I'm happy with that decision. If my deck plays as if the deck is supposed to play, that's a good game for me. And my deck showed what it's capable of.
Okay, so Deadmeat here is dropping Austere Command. He's paid 4 life ahead of time to make his Adanto Vanguard indestructible. He's only at half a plan. He's umming and ahhing over what to actually use out of the modes, and he's decided on creatures mana cost 4 or greater and artifacts. So really his Vanguard was safe the entire time. He's paid 4 life for nothing, but he's paid it so tough. I'm going to sack my Commander Train in response to draw a card. But if we're honest, most of my board's going away. That's my Commander, that's my Mana Box, that's a Scytheclaw, that's a tree. Deadmeat's keeping his whole board, he's just losing the Spectral Searchlight.
That's not a bad board wipe from Jesus' point of view.
Well, Jesus is about to lose his Commander because that is a 4-drop. It just hasn't hit home yet. I get to keep my my little flying demon, so at least I've got a blocker.
And we get to see the beautiful playmats.
Right, so that's much clearer. A lot less going on there, and I'm probably not the threat again. It's a nice, even playing field. Got a Forerunner of the Empire there from Jesus. He's going to go find a dinosaur and put it on top. He'll reveal it in just a moment. Looking at this field, who is the threat? Do you have a threat? Do you have someone you
At this stage now, I would start to see Jesus picking up. Because I know the deck, and I know that once the mana starts to come out, the beasts start to come onto the field, it gets quite aggro quite fast. Your deck's always a threat, can never take your eye off you.
So, Demon Trigger, beginning my upkeep, I lose a life.
As for Deadmeat, he's playing Snapdax, and I know what Snapdax can do.
So I've dropped a Mask of the Schema there. It's another connive equipment. So I will, when I deal damage, I'll draw that many, discard that many, again get to add counters for non-lands. I'm going to give that demon, because I need to get through some cards and find some answers quick.
I must say, GC's life total is looking quite risky for him at the moment. So
it's a little bit late, but he's revealing a Quartzwood Crasher from the Forerunner trigger, and he's put that on top.
A great card.
So it's only right, I hit him with a demon, and I'm going to connive. This time we are going to see the connive trigger, and we are going to represent with counters. It didn't matter with Abaddon before because he died about 30 seconds later. So 2 non-lands there, so 2 counters on the demon. He turns into a 4/4. And this is the kind of effect Mask of the Schema, which has been overlooked, so it will snowball if I get to hit again. So we get to see the final commander come out. Then meets mutating Snapdax onto the aerial responder.
Yeah, Snapdax is normally a 4-drop to play out, but if you mutate, it's a 5-drop, which onto a flying dwarf, it's not a bad call.
That's it, because it's mutated, he gets a trigger, deal 4 damage, gain 4 life. So we get rid of that Forerunner. If it was me, I would probably have hit the egg just to be on the safe side. I think the Forerunner's done its work. But it's Deadmeat's trigger, he will do as he pleases. What he pleases is hitting me with a dwarf. So I'll take 6 commander damage, and he'll gain 6 life.
At this point, Deadmeat was probably feeling quite fine with his higher life total. Knocked you down by 6. It looks good just on life totals.
So you look at just life totals, it's equal to mine and Jesus added together. It's a good position to be in. He's got a flyer, he's got double strike, he's got a potentially indestructible creature. He's already survived 1 board wipe.
If I was still in the game at this point, I would be wary of the eggs now, wondering what was going to drop.
That's it. We know he's got a Quartzwood Crasher on top, but I believe he's missed land drops, Jesus. There it is, it's out. No natural haste, so that's going to be staying home this turn. So it's passing straight back to me. I'll lose a life again. As I look at it, I know how powerful Quartzwood Crasher is in that deck. It's a trampler that makes more tramplers. And in the air, I'm going to struggle against that double striker. So we'll go back at Jesus, hit for 5. Now can I fought 5 times?
Jesus will have been very wary of flyers with his deck. He doesn't really have much protection against them generally.
That's it. He's dropped to 8 life now. He dies to more or less anything right now. There's a couple of flyers he can't stop. He needs a board wipe. He needs targeted removal. Or he needs to kill someone. So I'm discarding 1 land and 4 non-lands there, so there'll be another 4 counters on the demon. It's not the most powerful card in the deck, but once you start putting counters on a flyer, it does get better. So Abaddon back to the field, paying the commander tax. Hopefully we'll get to Cascade next turn. So put yourself in Deadmeat's shoes for a second. Are you going for the commander damage? Are you going to focus me, or are you going to try and potentially finish Jesus off?
At this point, I think I would probably swing at you, Peggy. I think Jesus' life total is very volatile. No lifelink on the board, so.
Okay, so Deadmeat here has dropped the Wanderer, a good planeswalker if you want to avoid non-combat damage. So his permanence and himself are pretty safe. He immediately downticks it, gets rid of that big scary demon.
Probably a good call.
That's a good call. Obviously I'm prejudiced. I'd like to see the Quartzwood Crasher go away as soon as possible.
The Quartzwood Crasher is a good card, but Deadmeat's got a life total to survive against that one.
Very good blocker.
It's such a value card as the Aerial Responder, and once you've got a mutated on with a double strike, even better. Commander damage, double strike, it's great.
We're in Jesus' turn, he's untapped. Question is, what has he got? So far, not a land.
Lands are probably where he's struggling with this game mostly.
Ironic, being the only green deck at the table. Right, that's going to help. That is an Eldrazi Monument. So his creature's going to get +1/+1 flying indestructible. Beginning of his upkeep, he sacks a creature.
That's for downside, because he doesn't have many creatures. Hopefully he'll be able to do something to remedy that.
Right, he's gone straight at Deadmeat, hit him in the air. It's not worth him blocking. It's not commander damage. But it is going to enable Jesus to make a trampler with a Quartzwood Crasher trigger. It solves your problem. He's made another creature. If one, he's probably going to sack that egg.
If he can keep hitting with a Quartzwood, then the Eldrazi Monument is very good. He always has something to sacrifice.
Ideally, that's there for him to have Atla out, sacrifice the egg to the Monument, and go find another dinosaur, but that's not going to happen in his follow-up turn. Yep, we've skipped through my first main. We're going straight to combat. I'm going to take a chance here. I can't get through that dinosaur that tramples. It's indestructible. Jesus has every reason to block, so we're going straight at Deadmeat. It's does he want to trade his commander? He doesn't, so he's declared no blockers.
He's using his life as a resource. It's there to be used.
So in response to the blockers being declared, I'm actually going to flash in an Eelumber. So my commander will have totem armor, but most importantly, +1/+1, so we're hitting for 6 instead of 5. The second main, we cast a 6-drop, like it was planned. So because I dealt 6 damage, that will allow me to cascade.
You have mana for days.
Unfortunately, what I've hit there is a mirror image. So with the Keep of Secrets on the stack, the only creature I can make a copy of with that is my commander, and it would immediately die to legend rule. So I'm going to choose not to cast that. Those cards get shuffled and put on the bottom. Then the spell resolves and the Keep of Secrets comes out. If I cast a spell from anywhere other than my hand, it's going to deal damage equal to its CMC to any target. So something to look out for in the future if I get a series of cascades. Not immediately threatening after combat, the haste is no use. I have no cards in hand though. If I draw lands next turn, there's going to be no cascade. We'll see what Deadmeat has. He's untapped. He's got a Wanderer up there, still the Planeswalker. If you're him, you're going to use that Wanderer this turn, I guarantee it. What are you hitting? Before we get an answer to that, he's casting Consume, and he's going to make me sacrifice a creature with the greatest power. So both my creatures have 6 power.
I think he's a bit wary of your commander at this point, but
Yeah, it looks like he's got enough to deal with most of the board. Didn't really expect this to consume out of nowhere. I'm thinking about the demon, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to sack my commander. I've got no cards in hand, so if I draw nothing next turn, I can always cast my commander again. Elumbra, completely useless on a sacrifice trigger. And he gains 6 life, thanks to consume. So that possibly makes the Wanderer choice a bit easier.
I'd possibly be thinking of a Quartzwood Crasher.
That's it, my commander's gone. It is exile, so it does get around the Eldrazi monument problem. Indestructible, no good against exile.
Obviously, the more the Quartzwood keeps hitting, the more creatures of Jesus is going to gain.
There's a down tick, and he's targeting the Quartzwood Crasher.
Called it.
It is the right target, if we're honest. That's good threat assessment. I would have removed it, you would have removed it. Dead Meat is going to remove it. Because it's that creature in particular that gives the trigger. The other dinosaur is just a trampler. This one makes more and more tramplers. And in the exile zone it goes. So, combat. And he's staying on that Voltron train, another 6 at me. I'm up on 18 commander damage. He'll gain 6 back above his starting life total, again.
As I say, he's been using his life as a resource quite wisely.
That's it. If you're not taking commander damage, you soak up those hits and you just gain it back. So here's the problem now, if I'm honest. So Jesus through to his first main, casting a Trapjaw Tyrant this time. If that's dealt damage, he's going to get to exile something under it until it leaves the battlefield. There was an Eldrazi an Eldrazi monument trigger at the beginning of his upkeep. He'll obviously sack the egg, he's just forgot to do it right now. We'll catch up to that in a moment. He's gone straight to combat, and he's swinging the Tramply Dinosaur at Dead Meat. Again, it's not commander damage, so he's just going to soak up the 8. He's gaining 6 life a turn. You can take 8.
8 damage is nothing.
There goes the egg, Jesus remembered. That's it, without the Quartzwood Crasher, that Trampler is not much. Myself and Jesus showing each other mercy here. We could probably hit each other, it's not really worth it. I'm just going to count my mana here, for some reason it must be a big spell. Unfortunately, I just figured out I haven't got enough to recast my commander. I'm 1 short. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to cut a deal with Jesus. I can't afford to be hit by Snapdax again, because I will die. But if I swing into the Snapshot Tyrant with my demon, it's indestructible, so his Tyrant will stick around. If I'm going to exile Dead Meat's commander, I'm potentially safe for a turn. I will lose my demon. The problem being, with Mutate, means it's not affected by Summoning Sickness, so if he chooses to move his commander to the command zone from exile with the Trapjaw Tyrant trigger, he will just mutate back onto the Adanto Vanguard. We've done a quick mana check there.
It's not quite as viable a target as the Aerial Responder, but it does get the commander straight back out.
But when you're against someone on 18 commander damage with no blockers, it will do the job. So I've gone to combat, cut the deal with Jesus. We're going to hit the Trapjaw Tyrant. It's going to be dealt damage, and we're targeting his Dead Meat's commander.
It's a good deal, isn't it? The correct thing to do.
It is. It's become arch enemy again. Clearly we're taking it in turns. Might get to be Jesus' turn at some point, but right now it is Dead Meat. So the Aerial Responder goes under the Tyrant. He's going to choose to put his commander back in the command zone. So I'm tapping 2 and I'm casting a Stormfist Crusader. In my upkeep, each player loses a life and draws a card. So I'm trying to get myself back into it.
Would that be digging for answers?
Literally digging for answers. I've equipped the mask because I have nothing better to do with my mana. Really up a creek here. No cards in hand again.
So Dead Meat's life total is still so strong compared to the other 2 players.
Still afford to take some heavy hits. There's a land.
Peggy obviously more at risk from commander damage than his life total being at 11.
The good news is, because of command attacks, he can't actually afford to mutate Snapdax. He needs 7, he's only got 6, so I'm safe for a turn. And there's then me smelting the Eldrazi Conscription. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It is an instant speed spell. I would have probably waited till the trigger goes off and Jesus is forced to sacrifice a creature. Smelting It's the right idea. I think he's just missed his timing here. So Dead Meat casting a Mark Purify here. Another lifelinker. We did say there was a lifelink sub-theme. It's kept him in the game.
It's been one of the strongest parts of his game has been the lifelink. It's meant he's been able to absorb the hits without much of a problem.
I think that aerial responder is the strongest part of his game, if not his entire deck right now. A lot of keywords. Jesus is cycling a Titanith Rex to draw a card. He's found a land. Not necessarily back in it, but gives him a chance. Tapping 3 for Battle Mage's Braces. If he equips that to a creature, it'll give it haste, and he can pay to copy an activated ability with that when it comes around. Ideally, it would go on Atla, get to make a couple of eggs, but no mana to get his commander out yet. So straight to combat, 7 trample of Dead Meat. He's just soaking it up again, clearly hoping to draw a land on his next turn and hit one of those nice targets for Snapdax.
If he draws the land, then he's got the life back again.
That's it. I've given him a chance. Everyone's lost a life and drawn a card thanks to the Stormfist Crusader trigger. So we just talked through the Wanderer trigger there. Dead Meat a little upset he had to lose a life because obviously the Wanderer stops damage but not loss of life.
An extra land, that comes in handy for Peggy there.
It means it's 9 for Abaddon. Better commander tax twice there now.
It's a pricey call at 9, but options are limited.
That's it. Sometimes you just got to get a blocker out there. So, in the interest of me drawing cards, I'm sending 2 with Menace at Jesus. Purely for the Canary triggers. Obviously he's only got 1 blocker, so there's no blocks there. He'll be taking 2, drops to 5. Discard 2 non-lands, because I drew 2 non-lands and I've got no cards in hand, so 2 counters on the Crusader becomes a 4. It's important to note on my turn that will be lethal on Jesus, because he'll drop a 1 life from the trigger.
Jesus' life total has been quite low for the last few turns now.
That's it.
Is he living on borrowed time?
Precarious is the word there. The opposite of what Dead Meat has. There's Dead Meat hitting his land drop. Can't help but feel responsible for that. Help him draw the extra cards. The good news is he can't take down a Wanderer anymore. It's just there to prevent non-combat damage now. So my commander and the Trapjaw Tyrant is safe.
As expected, here comes Snapdax.
Yep, and he's choosing the Adanto Vanguard as a target here. He had the choice of 2, and he's gone for one with Indestructible over the one with Lifelink. If he's packing board wipes, that's a good choice. Maybe thinking ahead a turn or 2 there. With the Mutate trigger, he gets to deal 4 damage. It's only to creature or planeswalker though. So tempting as it is to hit Jesus for 4, not a legal target. The only creature you can kill on the board is my Stormfist Crusader. And there it goes. Hit for 4, out of play. 4 life for Dead Meat. No extra cards for anyone. Also no more life loss for Jesus. 1 life at 5 life is actually a huge chunk. So he's gone straight to combat. And he's swinging the Vanguard / his commander at me again. It would be lethal, so I'm forced to block Abaddon here. He's paying the 4 life so that his commander doesn't die.
This time we know vigilance.
So Jesus, very quickly into his first main, on top of draw. And he's casting Cabaret Confluence. He's choosing just the same mode 3 times on this. There's a couple of modes, but he wants to make 3 copies of a creature. Pointless copying the token there, because it won't get the counters. So he would have liked the trample, but what he's doing is making 3 Trapjaw Tyrants. And they will be exiled at the end of combat. He comes with haste. He's just added 15 hasty power to the board.
At this point, his aggro deck is being pretty aggro.
That's it, that's a lot more dinosaurs. That's a healthier looking dinosaur board. If he thinks 2 at me, I'll die. I've got nothing there. But does that win him the game? Really, he's got to be on 5 life, very, very wary of Dead Meat. So I think he's going to come at me, swing all out of Dead Meat here. There's no point hitting me. That's 27 damage coming at Dead Meat. The only one with trample. He has got 1 blocker, the blocker has lifelink. So what he's going to do here, he's going to block 1 of the tokens. So he's going to lose 22, but gain 2, so he's going to survive on 1 life. So an even more precarious position life-wise than Jesus. There is a Trapjaw Tyrant trigger. Even though he's blocking 1 of the tokens, it'll go away at the end of combat. It means Jesus still gets to exile something. It'll return immediately, but
It was a very, very good turn by Jesus, was this one.
it's a strong swing. It's got him back into the game. He's no longer on the lowest life total. Briefly got the biggest field. But end of combat, he said those tokens going away. And the Abaddon Vanguard / Snapdax comes back into play. Untapped, that's a bit annoying. But I have nothing to swing with anyway, so it's not going to be overly relevant.
With your 10 life total, were you feeling a bit under pressure at this time?
I feel with no cards in hand and unable to cast my commander, I was feeling a lot of pressure at this time. What I really want is swing the pings for 1. I want a shock, lightning bolt, literally anything. But because of the Wanderer, damage can't be dealt. Very excited here. This is one of the new cards in the decks from the precon. Light Grenade. Because I have no blockers I can get out, in order to last another turn I have to get rid of the commander. So we're hitting Deadmeat's commander, that's going to be destroyed. He doesn't have enough life to pay for life to make it indestructible, so that's gone. Jesus' creatures get -3, -3 till end of turn, that's not going to be relevant because they're too big. I cast a Ring of Zephyr there, it's really just a card in my hand.
That grenade was traumatizing for Deadmeat there.
That's it, Deadmeat unfortunately dropped too low on life. If he was on 5 life, I feel like he would have paid the 4 life, kept his commander around and probably killed Jesus actually on that turn. Because on 1 life against a Trampler, he's in danger. We'll see if he's got an answer now. Another cute little card here. We've got Angrass Rampage. He's going to choose Jesus to sacrifice a creature. Jesus giving up on the Trampler there. An interesting choice, but what he wants to do is to keep the Tyrant around so that Deadmeat can get his key dwarf back. No life link for Deadmeat here.
I wouldn't like to call the win at this point.
That's it, the life total is so low anyone could die at any point. So it's Jesus here. He's got the Tyrant. He knows I've got nothing. He's looking at open mana on Deadmeat's side. If you're in his position, do you hit me for 5 with a Tyrant, or do you go for the kill on Deadmeat?
The kill on Deadmeat, without a doubt.
That's it. With this deck, you are worried about him gaining life. He's got mana open. It could be potentially instant speed. Okay, so we're not worried about life gain anymore. That's rampaging Frostodons, so we can't gain life now. Okay, with that on the field, he's swinging that Tyrant at me or Deadmeat.
At this point, you still have little on board. I would still take out Deadmeat.
So if a creature enters the battlefield, the Frostodon deals 1 damage to that creature's controller. So Deadmeat can't even play a creature anymore, unless he gains life first. They go straight to combat. Like you say though, he's going to swing for Deadmeat. He's not taking any chances. He's going to hit him for 5. That's Deadmeat out of the game.
Well, Jesus is playing an aggro deck with big creatures. Your 10 life total is nothing to what he can drop on his board.
That's true. So second main is cast Explosive Vegetation. He's ramped by a couple of lands. He's going to be able to cast some more spells in his hand next turn. He's on 5 life with creatures. I'm on 10 life with nothing. Okay, so I've separated my lands there. I've left 2 black open on one side. Got a plan, it's not a good one. Basically, what I'm looking to do here is buy myself another turn. I can't get a blocker out. I haven't got mana for my commander. We're going to be relying on removal. And that's not what you want to see from Jesus. Maybe for the neutral, but not me personally. That's a big, hasty Gishath.
From his mana problems at the beginning of the game, it's now all in hand.
As the last round, Bile Blighting that Frostodon. I'm not getting hit by that. I will take lethal from the other dinosaurs. Straight 12 power, -2 for me, and Jesus wins.
Slap down those cats. Well, an interesting game. All players, at one time the main threat. Victory for the dinosaurs with a good aggro win. So, how would you rate Abaddon in this battle?
It's hard. We got second place there. Abbadon did his best. We got to see a little bit of Cascade. We saw some of what the deck wants to do. Hit a board wipe or 2. Obviously the problems. Your deck's super aggro, tough to deal with.
Very super aggro.
But he dealt with you. We took you from nearly 60 life down to 2 in one turn.
It's what my deck expects. It's good to play hard and fast.
If I'm honest, we didn't know Abaddon could hit that hard, so that's nice to know that's in the tank. Didn't have anything for indestructible commanders though. So possibly some exile to think about in the future, possibly some life gain. A little extra card draw. Being stuck with no cards in hand, tricky. Dinosaurs did well. Jesus got hit so hard and just managed to rally at the end there. Demi put in a solid performance. Happy overall.
Yeah, I think the fact that all 4 of us were a threat. I mean, it's hard to fault a game where that happens.
So Jesus is only really a threat in the last turn or two there when people's life totals are in single digits, but it counts.
Some people may be upset at going out early in the game. When I play that deck, I expect it. It's either I'm going to win or I'm going to die early. It's a risk-reward scenario.
Well, the good news is all 4 decks are going to get a second chance. This is part of a 3-part series to see how Abaddon does. Same decks, different battle. So we'll see how we get on next time. So if you would also like to join us for the next gameplay of these 4 commanders, that'll be coming up next week. We'll see if dinosaurs can hold on to that crown.
Like, comment, subscribe, do the usual things. So goodbye from Peggy and Wonky, and see you next time.